What's up, Chicago and the rest of the world, if you don't know? My name is CL, your host of the Art Live Life podcast. This episode is brought to you by the Black Podcast app and the Black Podcast Studio, where voices of color are amplified. Honorable mention Chicago, a lifestyle brand producing well-crafted clothing and products that get better with time. Lauren Paul, a grant writing, project management, and program development agency specializing in building roadmaps for your ideas. Last but not least, Gloria Daniels Entertainment, a trusted partner handling your business with dedication, optimism, and exuberance. My guest today is Denisha Maddie. Denisha Maddie is a mental health professional from Chicago, Illinois. One of her core beliefs is understanding the most authentic version of oneself is an ongoing process that requires a conscious effort. Denisha is here to speak on the unfortunate situation she found herself in after her Twitter post went viral. Let's take a look and listen.
So I feel like I've always been pretty vocal. I've always been a pretty opinionated person. I've always spoke my mind. Ever since I was a little girl, that's how I was raised. That's what my mom taught me. She always told me to speak up for myself. So from a very young age, I always felt like if I felt like something was wrong, I would speak out against it. So it's no surprise that I'm pro-Black. I'm very vocal about that. I'm very comfortable with confronting white supremacy. So when you enter the education system is just very political, but in higher ed, it's just another level of just politics. So me being this amazing Black woman that I am, very vocal, and I'm really passionate about mental health. So I feel if I'm in a field where it's predominantly white women, and majority of these white women are going to be working with communities of color, it's my duty to make sure that they are being passionate and genuine with their efforts, because you're going to be working in communities that look like me. You're going to be working with potentially my nephew, potentially my little cousin. So I feel I'm not just finna just ignore goofy shit. Can I curse?
Go ahead.
I'm not about to ignore goofy shit. So, I became really passionate about social justice in higher ed, because it's just very political, and it can just be very hard for students that look like me, especially when it's not that many of us that look like me. So I became very close with some professors at my school, and they kind of took me under their wing and did a lot of research with them. And so I was, during this time, Twitter wasn't as hot, but it was it was warm.
What year was
this? Was 2018 spring. So I want to say maybe March-ish, April-ish. So I would do a lot of I would help one of my professors grade papers. Unbiasedly, I would never purposely misgrade anyone's paper. I don't have that type. I won't want nobody to do that to me. I'm not on that type of time. So I was grading a paper, and I just thought it was interesting that a lot of the students were struggling with some of the race-related questions. It's easy to answer a question about Freud because everyone's taught Freud, but when you're asked a question where you really gotta write it out, and you're given a scenario with a potential client of color, and you're struggling, that's very telling that if you can pass a Freud question, cool. But then if you have to answer a question about knowing yourself and questions about race, and you're struggling, that's very telling of
reality.
Reality.
You know
and it's
saying?
just that's very telling of are you ready to enter this field? So I tweeted something I just find it interesting that a lot of these students are struggling with this question. I think I said something my mentor is giving these students a run for their grade, and so to me that's I feel most Black people would know what that means. They ain't fucking around, it's slang. But baby, white Twitter went
Is there a white Twitter?
nuts.
Is a real white Twitter?
Yeah, but it's a
Twitter.
It's a Twitter world out there that really aims to harm and see Black people fail, and I feel that's the world that attacked me. So the tweet went viral, of course, and I didn't think that it was a big deal. And then I started getting people in my inbox you're misgrading papers, and it was just so much. They thought I was a teacher, it was just so much. And so at first I thought like, okay, whatever, this will die down. Like I had a few, I'm pretty funny, so I had a few tweets that were like, a lot of people would retweet, but I never imagined anything like this, so.
Did you get any celebrity retweets?
No. No, absolutely. I feel like in this day and age, I probably would have, but 2018, it was like Twitter was still warming up, you know, but now the block be hot on Twitter. But yeah, so that happened like on a weekday. So then I went to work out with my best friend Ciobia, and then I get back to my phone. My phone is buzzing. My phone don't never buzz. I don't even know why I paid this expensive ass phone bill. My phone was buzzing, so I'm like, what happened? And I'll never forget my friend Josh texted me like, G, delete like your Twitter now. And so I go to Twitter, and it has just spread it like beyond me. Like beyond me, and I just really didn't even know like what was going on. I mean, it was people just making up so many lies so quick, like, oh, you're misgrading white students' paper, and then it was white people like talking about some, you know, you're racist and all this other stuff. And so I instantly just emailed my school and was like this is just what's going on. Like, I'm just putting y'all in the loop because I don't know what this is. And by the next day, it was just like a lot of blogs. With like misleading headlines, like black professor misgrade white students' papers, and it just fucking went like viral, and it was just very overwhelming. And I just like I started deleting all of my like social media accounts, like my LinkedIn. But at that time, they had already screenshotted my face and like blasted my face all over the internet. They were like finding like old addresses where I would live. Like they were sending me death threats. They had like posted my nephew's picture. So I was like super nervous, and like my school just kind of reacted in a way that was just very like political. You know, they made a statement saying that they were like investigating, but they never made a statement saying it was false. So to me, I was just like, okay, like, mind you, I wasn't no regular ass student. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I was a student that was going on conferences. I was a student that was doing research. I was a student that got good grades. I was a student that, you know, I worked at the school. I was very active at that school. Like, I was a part of organizations. I spoke to everybody in the hallway. Like, I was very active in that program. So I just felt like for y'all to just like want me to promote to incoming students, like, oh yeah, she does research and blah, blah, blah. But then when it's time for y'all to really have my back, y'all kind of just play the political role. That shit blew the fuck out of me. I'm like, so I really just wanted to quit. I just wanted to be like, fuck this school. Like, y'all got me fucked up. Y'all got people out here sending me death threats and y'all not making a statement. Y'all basically just trying to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's just try to like ignore this. Like, no, this is a big fucking deal. It is white people out here threatening to kill me.
Yeah, did the police get involved? Or?
So, my mentors advised me to like make police reports. Go to the police station. This is another thing, like, I feel like, you know, God willing and God is so good, like nothing happened to me, but I go to the police station and they just kind of like downplayed it. Like, oh, I mean, I'm showing them like, I'm printing out like all of the threats that I'm getting. I'm showing them numbers. And they're just like, oh, okay, like what happened again? Oh, some internet stuff. And I'm like, if something happens to me, like my mom is going to like go the fuck off on y'all. So I'm like, I need y'all to take this serious. I mean, I did have a follow-up, but it wasn't much that he could do. He just said like, it's just a bunch of online stuff. It's nothing that we can do. We can't like trace these people or anything. But I mean, I did police reports and all of that stuff. But that shit was just like really hard for like, and I was living by myself, so I just felt like I was just, it was just weird to like experience that by myself. And then like when people would ask me, I didn't want to relive that, so I kept telling people it's fine. But that shit was not fine. Like every 5 minutes, looking at your phone and just seeing so much, I'm just like, I can't. Like every 5 minutes, my phone ringing. Oh my God, it made it to another block. Oh my God, it made it to another block. Oh my God, now you might get kicked out of school. Like it's just over what? Over a lie, over like fake blogs. I felt like a fake celebrity and like people was trying to like ruin my career, and I didn't even have a fucking career. So God. That shit was crazy.
Man, G, I'm sorry you had to go through that though.
I don't know. I feel like everything happens for a reason. I mean, thank you, but I feel like that happened for a reason. Like it taught me how to navigate through the realities of like white supremacy, and like when you are really vocal and passionate about dismantling systems, the devil is gonna work overtime to take you down.
So how do you feel in light of that? You know what I mean? And of course, the social political climate that we're in now. Like, do you feel like it's some kind of, you know, well, when the whole George Floyd thing happened, and you know what I mean, I couldn't imagine like the headspace you were in when everything went down, and now everybody's getting exposed. You know what I mean? Was it kind of satisfying? In a way, to see
it's always satisfying to see Black people like speak up for ourselves and for our humanity. But at the time, you know, like I say, I always tell people this is a lifestyle, so it's gonna be times where this shit is gonna take a toll on you. That shit took a toll on me. Like, I almost got kicked out of school. Like, I almost wanted to give up on school because I'm like, I can't handle this. And at the time, a lot of people were saying like, well, you know how your mouth is, or, you know, like, Native, you will never. And I'm just like, so now y'all trying to, y'all trying to put it on me when it's like, I'm the victim. I'm not the enemy. Like, the enemy is these fucking racist ass white people that's attacking me. I'm not the fucking enemy. So it's hard when you don't have, I feel like if that shit would happen in 2020, I would have had a wave of support, and that would have been easier to handle than just, you know, it was some Black people even telling me the same thing. And so it's just like, I mean, I stood firm on like my intentions. I stood firm on like, I knew that I did not misgrade any papers. I mean, they were calling me a professor. I'm like, y'all don't even know that I'm a fucking student.
Right.
Y'all don't even know. Y'all just so upset, and y'all just think that like y'all can just do all this malicious stuff to me. And it's just like, I'm covered and I'm blessed. Like, you can't block my motherfucking blessings.
Say it again.
Period.
You feel me? So, like, what was the process of staying in school? Like, what did you have to do?
Basically, so at the time, I had a year left when this happened. So this happened like in spring of 2018. And so my last year was supposed to be starting in that fall. And I was supposed to be done like in 2019. So basically, I had to go to like, I don't know what it's literally called, but I feel like it was like academic court. But I had to write a paper and say that I'm sorry, and I had to explain what I did and what I learned from it. And they were gonna make a decision based off that, like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna kick her out? Are we gonna keep her in? And I'm very grateful for the little staff that supported me through that, but because it wasn't many staff that even like reached out to me. It wasn't any Black staff aside from one person that reached out to me, and I was astounded. But
so sad, man.
It's pathetic. It's honestly pathetic. And so they decided that I wasn't professionally ready, because your last year in that program, you do your clinical, so you do your internship, which means you go out in the field, you get your hours. So they basically determined that I was not ready to professionally go out on the field, and that I had to do an extra year.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that you tweeted something that was inappropriate. And I'm like, well, what did I tweet that was inappropriate?
Was it inappropriate that, you know, all those people reacted to it? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are they? And then
what's crazy is everybody that was in the room was like white people. I mean, it was a few professors that were Latinx, but it was like a lot of white men, some white women, and I'm just like,
how did you feel walking into that room, G?
I was terrified. Like, I wasn't able to sleep. Like, I was shaking. Man. Like, my hair fell out. That's how stressed I was. My hair was falling out. My skin was breaking out. It was terrifying. So imagine a Black woman sitting in a room of majority white people, older white people that don't even know what really Twitter is. Right. Don't know what a retweet is. It's not in that like millennial world. You have to basically, you basically gotta like say fuck it and act like, you know what I'm saying, be political with them, like, I'm sorry for what I did, even though what I didn't.
Took a little bit of your soul.
My pride was fucked up. Because I was about to say, like, fuck y'all, kiss my ass, I'm finna leave. But my mentor was like, that's what they want you to do. They trying to get rid of you. Right. She was like, no, fight this shit through. Like, don't give up.
Who is this mentor? Shout him and her out. Who is this?
My mentors, Dr. Chavez and Dr. Dames, they are still at that school. I love them so much. They fully supported me. I would have never finished that program without them.
I'm proud you stuck it out.
Yeah,
for sure. Because that wasn't just for you, of course. You know what I mean? Does anyone know about this? Like, other than, you know, of course, people that you talked to it about.
I feel like, you know, the people that know were either I feel like don't nobody know the depths of it.
Right.
Like, obviously the people that involved at the school that like I had to go like to court for, they knew, or like my close friends knew like about it, but don't nobody really know how that shit like really affected me, because I didn't like talking about it, because it was just so overwhelming. Like, I don't want to keep having to relive this shit every 5 minutes. I gotta relive it by going to my phone, and I gotta relive it by telling you. Like, I didn't feel like talking about that shit. I just wanted to move on. It was overwhelming. So I feel like people knew like a glimpse of it, but they didn't know like the deepness of how fucked up that shit was.
So, like, how ironic is it being a mental health professional and going through a sort of mental health crisis like that? Like, what did you do to just keep yourself sane? Because being scared, being fearful,
living by myself,
extremely stressed.
Yes.
And your career in the balance, your degree in the balance.
Yes. And people was telling me like, your career is ruined. No one's ever gonna hire you.
Like,
yes,
come on,
like
G.
it was crazy. It was insane. Like, I remember my supervisor at the time at the school, he would be like, I'm gonna walk you like to and from the train, because we don't, like, everybody on this website that's threatening you could be literally people in your class.
Exactly.
We do not know who these people are that's sending you death threats. We gonna lynch this nigga. That's what they saying on the blogs, G. My face blaster. We're gonna find this nigger and we're gonna lynch her. And I'm like, are you serious? Finding old addresses, blasting my old addresses. So the first thing that I did when this shit started happening, I just prayed. I'm like, Lord, you got to get me through this, because I don't know what to do. Like, I want to quit, but then it's like, if I quit, what am I going to do next? Like, I'm not going to have these people blackball me, and I'm still a fucking student, and they're accusing me of something that I did not do. So the first thing I did was I prayed. I moved. I instantly, like, moved out of that apartment, because I'm like, if they find this address, like, I don't want no smoke with, like...
And you don't know who was in the leasing office.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, so I instantly moved to a blacker neighborhood where I just felt like, I don't know, that shit just made me feel safer.
Yeah. That's
and I went to that, that goofy ass court, and I had to do an extra fucking year, and that shit blew the fuck out of me, because it's like, now I gotta pay for this.
What was it like though? Like, was it any different? Like, did they treat you any different afterwards? Like,
So it's crazy. So there's like, that shit happened in like March, April. Summer classes started in May.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went back to school in May, I felt people staring at me. Like, it was tense. I felt like the stares. I felt like when I walk into a classroom, people was like, oh, that's the girl that because that shit blew up. Like, that shit blew up. And so I told myself every morning before I went to class, I just told myself, you a bad bitch, period. And I just walked in the classroom.
Affirmations, let's go.
Because I'm like, what else am I going to do? Y'all not finna intimidate me out of these classrooms. I'm still going to be giving my opinion. I'm still going to be raising my hands to answer the question. Y'all don't know what the fuck going on. Y'all haven't tried to talk to me about it. Like, it was maybe like 2 students that reached out to me and said like, hey, we just want to let you know we support you. Everybody else was just looking like, if I would have known a black student was going through that, I would have instantly been like, sis, come here.
See, that's the difference though, man. Like, what's that it's a kind of breed, and I know we were talking about Heavy and the whole Trap House gang. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to Trap House.
I feel like, man, they just have a family, and that's what I feel like black people should emulate, the way that they take care of each other, the way they taking care of 79th.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I follow them avidly, and it just feels like we got a lot of field niggas out here. You know what not field niggas, but house niggas out here. You know what I'm saying? But
you know what? The higher ed is not like that. Higher ed is political, like I said. So you're not gonna. A lot of those students, probably half of the population at that school was not even from Chicago. They were from other states, other countries. So I wasn't surprised at it. You know what I'm saying? If I feel like if this was like my undergrad, I would have had the support. But they don't give a fuck in higher ed.
So you think like people are kind of beaten into that kind of submission, like the
culture?
Yes,
they have to be political, like, you know what I'm saying? And then another thing with higher ed is so many different types of people. Like, you have international students, you have older people that's in like master's programs, you have, super young people fresh out of undergrad. So it's just like, they don't care about building a community. Motherfuckers there to like get a degree and leave. You got the few that's really trying to build something, right. But overall, no, they're not. At least that wasn't my experience.
That's so unfortunate. So like, okay, so everything's over, right? Everything's done. You got your degree.
Got my degree, period.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the first thing that you did, like, afterwards? No more stress. Like, you don't have to worry about, I mean, or are you still kind of, are you?
Well, sometimes I still get angry, but I just use my anger, like, I feel my anger and just, like, trying to just put it towards, like, stuff that can dismantle these systems. So I always tell myself I have to give me a mentee because I want to be able to, like, put somebody under my wing, how my mentors put me under their wing. I feel like I have to give back, give everything that I've learned about being a black woman in higher ed, about navigating systems, about, you know, growing up in Chicago. I want to give that back to another young black girl. So I forgot what the fucking question was.
Like, after, just like after everything was over, the dust is settled, like, you came out victorious, and, like, that peace. Like, what did you do? Did you just rest? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like I did. I feel like I had to do an extra year, and then I entered my, like, internship, and I was working I was working at a CPS school from like 7 to 4, and then working at a homeless shelter on the west side from like 5 to 11 every day, Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, I was working at a bar. So I feel like when COVID hit, the bar got shut down. School was from home. Like, so I was at home more. So I literally felt like wow, I can get to sleep. I get to just, like, soak all of this in. Like, so I really did feel like I was able to rest because of COVID, because I was working, like, hard. I felt like I was trying to catch up to the year that I lost. You know what I'm saying? I had my life planned out, and that shit did not go how I thought it was going to go, but it's still going, though. So I felt like I was finally able to rest. Like, just relax, Denisha. Like, you got through it. Like, you have nothing to prove to nobody. Like, you're going to get a job. You're covered. Like, you still a bad bitch. You still going to speak up. And then, boom, the riots hit. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned. Well, I'll be damned.
Divine timing,
exactly,
man. Well, everything
exactly.
is, though, right?
Exactly.
Everything
So
is
it was
divine.
beautiful to see black people fed the fuck up and lighting shit on fire. Because that's how I felt in 2018. I wanted to light that motherfucking school on fire.
I bet, G. Like,
Period.
I mean, I couldn't imagine just being by yourself and just, that's something that heavy.
Yeah. And don't nobody understand it unless you go through it. Like, I was trying to explain it to my mom. She's like, oh, okay, like, all right. Like, my mom just really didn't understand it. And I'm just like, and it's hard to try to prove to somebody that you feel like a victim when they feel like, well, you just probably shouldn't have said that. I'm like, but I didn't do anything.
Right. Yeah, like,
what did I do? They're accusing me of something that's not real.
What do you think that mentality is, though? Like, even if you're in the right, you know what I'm saying? But because we're black, we are used to having to take low to things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think that's still kind of a residue of slavery?
I think it's a power that we have, because I feel like it was very interesting because when COVID hit, I had a lot of white colleagues that crumbled. Like, they were freaking the fuck out. What are we gonna do? Like, a lot of people in, like, the bar industry or the restaurant industry, when all them jobs got shut the fuck down, they were crumbling. Like, oh my God, like, I'm not working. What am I gonna do? And I'm like, self-unemployment. How do I do that?
Gee.
I'm like, get some link. What's that? And so I feel like it's a power that we have that's literally in our blood, how to overcome. Even though even if we gotta bite our pride, and even if we gotta, like, you know what I'm saying, our ego gets crushed. That shit is powerful, because a lot of people cannot do that. A lot of people cannot bounce the fuck back.
Yeah, adversity breeds a kind of superior survivor. You know what I mean? Just think about it in a while. Only the strong survive, right? But you have to survive all of these obstacles that are trying to kill you.
Literally.
And in that, because we've went through centuries of just adversity and just genocide, you know what I mean? And labor, free labor, and just grueling physical conditions. And we're still here. We are superior because of that.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? But
Period.
I do have a thought, though. So I was thinking, I like to look at the bigger picture, right? So we're all here, right? What happened, right? So we have the stealing of this country, the colonization of this country, right? And then we have our dynamic, our people here, pretty much doing all of the work, the engineering of this country, if you will, the physical engineering. Like, I have this theory that like white people wouldn't be who they are today without us, and we wouldn't be the tastemakers we are today because they chose to come over here and do what they did. Mm. So I'm not saying that we need each other now. It's the way that things played out that this country won't work unless we make it work. Mm-hmm. So in the way that things are like playing out now, it's like a transition of power. Like if you think about like all the different empires, mm-hmm. they've always had someone to overthrow. Mm-hmm. And like even I don't know if you ever read People's History of America by Howard Zinn. And he talked about that, like how the settlers and when they got the 13 colonies and and when they didn't like what the government did, that's what they did. They protested. Mm. But they went in that motherfucker, kicking in doors.
And demanded that shit.
Snatching niggas out of the office, beating their ass, burning shit down. You know what I'm saying? And it is just like to think that that's what y'all did and then y'all... See, that's why they don't want us to do this shit. Mm-hmm. Because they know what's going to come up because they did the shit first. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then I like to make this point to black people just to get them off their high horse. Because a lot of things that we do now is from a European mindset.
Yeah, we've been socialized that way.
You know what I'm saying? And we think that way. It's ingrained. You know what I mean? So it's important for us to know our history. It's important for us to know that a lot of things that we do today is because white people have taught us these things. Mm-hmm. And even religion, you know what I'm saying? You believe what you want to believe, that's your life. But you got to know why Christianity, why we black people practice Christianity, why black people have different denominations, mm-hmm. Where all that come from. Mm-hmm. Like you don't want to just be blindly following something.
Right.
I can't for the life of me.
I agree totally.
How do you think that plays into our psyche, just being stripped of everything, right? And then coming to this point where everyone's coming into the light and they're getting woke. Like, what do you see if you had to forecast, right? What do you see us, let's say, 20 to 50 years from now? Like, what is our community like if you had to just imagine what that is?
I would see our community as being more united, for sure. Mm-hmm. For sure. Because I see it in the youth. Like, I see it with Generation Z. Like, Generation Z not fucking around. Like, they standing up to their fucking parents. They standing up to their grandparents. They are so good at technology. Like, when I was in high school, I was not nearly aware of fucking racism and, like, systemic shit as a lot of these high schoolers are. So I do see us being more united because it really does start with the people that we are influencing, the younger people that we are teaching, the younger people that's watching us. So I feel like, sometimes, I love the older generation, but sometimes they just be stuck on them old ways. So I be really focusing a lot of my energy into younger people because them the people that's going to be taking over, like, when we get older. Right. So I do think that we're going to be more united because I do think we have progressive as younger folks. Now, obviously, you're going to have to... Obviously, everything's not going to be perfect. Right. But I do think we'll be more united, but I do think with more unity comes more problems, different type of problems that we might not even know about right now. So I'd rather have those problems. Exactly. Than these. Exactly. This shit's got to go. It's got to go. Exactly. Let's get out of our way. Exactly. Like, even if they gave us, like, how many black people is it in America? I think it's like, I want to say 20 million. I don't know. But it's in the double digits in the millions. But like even they just gave us like Texas or some shit. Not Texas, but they're not gonna give away Texas. But like give us our own state. Mm. Like we'll pay our taxes, but just let us be our own black selves doing black shit right here. Right. You know what I'm saying? See, I feel like I don't want that. I feel like I want the whole motherfucking country because I really just feel like I be telling this to my friends, like in the summertime, it's boat season, and I always be telling people I want to buy a boat, and I know it's so expensive, but then I be watching all these white people have boats, and I'm like, y'all literally got these expensive ass boats on the labor of my ancestors. Like, y'all families was able to build that fucking money. Like, get those fucking jobs and be able to afford this type of lifestyle in the summer off of the labor. Yeah. This is our shit. That's damn near my boat. I feel you. So I be feeling like people be like, well, why don't you go to another country? That's great. I want to visit. I want to, maybe own some property in other countries. But this is our shit. I'm not finna let this shit drive me and my future out of here. Like, it's going to be hard to take this shit back. Yeah. It's not going to happen in my lifetime. I've already came to that conclusion. But I'm not finna give up.
Right. You still got to lay that foundation and that path.
Exactly.
It's definitely being laid.
I'm just not finna hand it over to racism. I'm not just finna let white supremacists be like, all right, we're finna run all these niggas out. No, this is our shit, honestly. They built this shit, so it's just like, it's hard, but we're not finna give up. We gotta teach the younger people that you got a duty. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. I feel that sentiment, for sure.
So, period. This our shit. When I be walking around, I be feeling like I'm a bad bitch because I'm walking on the grounds of people that built this shit for me. You know what I'm saying?
That's power.
Yeah. We just got to take it back. Like, when you was saying earlier how, like, back in the day, they used to just run up in the shit and, like, I feel like we definitely got to start doing that. I mean, I'm not a violent person, but I just be feeling like, damn, I'm tired of begging fucking racist ass people for, like, humanity. I'm ready to just say, fuck this shit and, like, we're done asking. We just gotta start running up on you motherfuckers.
You know about the NFAC?
No.
The Not Fucking Around Coalition?
No, but it sounds intriguing.
They went to the capital of the KKK.
Those was the black people that had like the guns and stuff. That shit was beautiful.
Yeah, man, I follow him avidly too, G. Like, he has like a morning mental when the Grandmaster, he just talks about the real shit. One thing that really stuck with me, he was talking about, he paid a pilot. I don't know how true this is. I don't know the brother. But he was saying that he paid a pilot to fly him up into military airspace, right? Because 30,000 feet is commercial, right? But then anything above that is military. And that's when you really get to see what the sky looks like.
And what really was going to fuck on.
And really what's going on. That's why they spraying this shit. They don't want us to see what's going on. And then they blocking the sun.
Wow.
I mean, it's just some evil shit going on. I don't want to get too deep into it.
Look, no, I believe it, though.
Shit.
I believe it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but even if you go to the desert, G, have you ever been out to the desert or anywhere where it's just like a really dark sky and you can see like the stars at night? Like,
when I was in undergrad, I went somewhere where it was just so many stars.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was in Arizona. I drove to Arizona, and we was coming through Albuquerque, and I just couldn't believe, like, it was like I was seeing galaxies, G.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
And you don't see that in Chicago.
You don't. At all. Too much light pollution.
Wow.
You know?
Interesting.
It is. It's and I think it's a power in that, because if you think about it, getting into astrophysics.
Just show shit too. You does.
Light travels, G. Like, that light is probably not there.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Light is information too. So like, our ancestors used to stare at the stars. You know what I mean? And I will tell you, I had a moment. I don't know what to call it. It felt spiritual, but I was out just looking at the stars, smoking or whatever. Maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe it opened me up to it. But I had it was just this voice saying, like, go outside, just look at the stars, just go outside, look, just look, right? So, and I was just staring and staring, and then this overwhelming just feeling of gratefulness.
Okay,
like, think about it, like, every star in the sky is potentially another planet, another sun. It's just like ours. There can be somebody like you out there somewhere, potentially looking up at the stars too.
Wow, that's
deep. You know what
deep.
I'm saying? Think about it. Like, if we here, why isn't somebody else somewhere else?
Exactly.
You know
I was
what
just
I mean?
having that conversation with Sylvia. We was talking about like aliens. She was just like, "Do you think that it's like?"
I mean, we're aliens.
I'm like, yeah, hell. I'm like, why not? Why do we get to be the only thing that exists?
You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, I'm down to fucking go live on another planet because this shit is ghetto.
Well, we already on our way.
Maybe.
No, it's happening. It's already happening.
You think it's happening in our lifetime?
Yeah, I think in the next 10 years we're going to be on Mars. Like, they already got shit there.
I just don't, like, let's say, for example, niggas go to Mars. Or let's say Americans go to Mars.
Yeah.
I just don't want them to do American shit. Like, I just feel like America is so toxic.
How do you feel about social media now that you've been on the negative receiving end of, you know what I mean?
I think when I first went through that shit, I was a little bit more sensitive to people who would get dragged. I would be telling people, like, because, you know, oftentimes we see, like, you know, celebrities or whoever, just really their business just gets out there all the time, and just people are just commenting and just really don't know what that person is going through. So I felt like I was more sensitive to, like laughing at celebrities and their hardships or whatever. So that made me become more sensitive. But I love social media. Like, it's powerful.
Right.
If you use it in a ways that can spread shit. Like, Black Twitter. What? Not only is Black Twitter hilarious, but Black Twitter gonna get that shit shut the fuck down. So I love it. I mean, I'm not on Twitter. I try to minimize my usage because it can just be very distracting for me right now. But
For sure.
I think it's powerful. And I think that it's only gonna get more powerful. And I think that it's a tool that Black people need right now to really capture, unfortunately, injustice. Because that's really the only way that the movement gonna continue.
Well, before we close, I think I would like to recommend The Social Dilemma. If you haven't seen it already on Netflix,
Okay.
it's gonna make you want to break your phone.
Really?
Yes.
I've been hearing a lot
disgusting.
about that. The Social Dilemma.
It is disgusting, Denisha. It is
I'm
terrible.
gonna watch it tonight, actually.
And okay, so they have.
Is it gonna blow me or is it gonna
It's going to blow you because these are heads of the companies when they were first starting out. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest,
Wow.
whatever. Like, they letting it go. Like, they were saying, one guy was saying he was nervous because he spent 8 months just talking to lawyers about this one project.
Wow.
And now it's coming to fruition, and he was like, I don't want to be here. I don't like this. You know what I mean? And they let it all out, and it's crazy, like, what's going on. Like, we don't even know, like...
What's going on?
Yeah, but it's how it changed us.
Because it
like,
definitely
unconsciously, we changed our behavior because of this.
Yeah, definitely, especially the younger
ones. Skin
ones.
crawl, like... It's like, what else are they doing?
Right, honestly.
It makes me so angry, but then again, it's like, fuck it, whatever. I'm dying anyway. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
It's a
like,
balance. You got to take the good with the bad.
True.
Because there's good aspects of it.
Yang.
Yeah,
You know,
everything has to be in balance.
Things that are out of your control,
Yeah.
you can't control. And it's whatever. But no, G, thank you. And I want to give you a special thank you for enduring what you endured.
Oh, thank
Just
you.
like so many Black women. You know what I mean? Just period, you know, and Black men too, just Black people in general.
Yeah.
The hardship in your story is one that is telling of what is really happening and still happening and has been happening. And hopefully, and I believe, not even hopefully, if I call that hope shit, like it's going to end.
It is.
And I'm glad that you know what I'm saying, brought your situation to the end by giving yourself affirmations, applying what you know, you know what I mean? And now you can be an advocate. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Very proud of you. And thank you for being here.
Thank
and,
you.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
So my social media on Instagram is I love Denisha, ILOVEDENISHA, and Facebook is just for family and friends. So you can follow me on Instagram. I don't want everybody blowing up my Facebook. I'm really ratchet on Facebook. Okay.
There you go. But no, that's that, and that is episode 7 of the Art to Live Life podcast. You can find me CLA_pro.tv and the Art to Live Life podcast.com. It's been one. Peace, light, and love.
Period.
All right, let's cut.